The focus of this lesson is on solving an absolute value inequality. So the first step is to isolate the absolute value expression. So we need to remove this addition of 2 and this multiplication by -3. And so we'll undo those operations. So our first step is to subtract 2 from both sides. Now when we do that, that doesn't change our absolute value inequality symbol. It will stay in the same direction because when you subtract 2, that has no effect on that symbol. And then we're going to go ahead as our next step and divide by -3 on both sides of the inequality. But when you divide by -3, that does change your inequality symbol. And so I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite that the direction is changed. And that gives us the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to a positive 2. And we have an absolute value inequality now where that expression is isolated. So now is when we can split it into two different inequalities. The first is exactly what we see without the absolute value symbols. So 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to 2. And then the other one is 2x minus 1 is greater than or equal to, so flip that symbol and then go opposite sign on that right hand side, so -2. And then since this says less than or equal to, this is a situation where the distance is within, so this is that and scenario where both are going on. And so that's important. The inequality symbol tells you that, whether it's going to be and versus or. Less than or equal to will tell you that it's and. Greater than or equal to will tell you that it's or. So both of these need to be happening. So our solution will be the intersection of these two inequalities. So I'm going to solve the first by adding 1 to both sides. And I get 2x is less than or equal to 3. Divide by 2 on both sides. X is less than or equal to 3/2. Solve the second inequality. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 2x is greater than or equal to -1. Divide by 2 on both sides. X is greater than or equal to -1/2. Both of these need to be occurring. So draw yourself a picture if it helps you. Here's 0. Here's -1/2. Here's positive 3/2. And it doesn't have to be perfectly drawn, but then you need to have both going on. So x is less than or equal to 3/2. So you could be equal, so the bracket, and then less than would be to the left. X is greater than or equal to -1/2 means you have a bracket at -1/2, and then greater than means you would be to the right. So if we take the intersection of these two lines, we can see that puts us between -1/2 and 3/2. That would be our solution. So our solution is -1/2 to 3/2, inclusive of both endpoints.